Hey everyone, this is Caroline. Welcome. Today we are continuing with our session on sadness, depression. I know it's not to depress you or to make you more sad, but and even though you are coping, but there are a lot of people who are struggling with what's happening, especially younger people as well. I have a friend who's in her 20s. She tells me that all her friends who are coming out of college, just starting out a career, are extremely depressed. They're telling her, like, we don't want to be here anymore. And I said, do you mean like what? Like they want to just move or something? And she said, no, they're like super depressed. So I don't mean to start off by, telling you this kind of sad thing. However, we're here to help, we're here to assist, we're here to uplift. And so we can't keep pretending it's not there. And so this webcast is for those who need it. So if it's not you, please pass it on, help others, and this is what we're doing, okay? Little recap. I'm going to share my screen just to kind of do a little recap of what's going to happen today. And also for those who are joining for the first time, it's a good reminder. So here we go. All right, let's see. All right, everybody can see my screen and hear me clearly. Perfect. All right, here we go. So again, this is just a simple kind of reminder. We're doing a mini session. This is not a full-blown session. But just enough to recap, feeling lonely and feeling alone are not the same thing. We all have moments of loneliness, we feel a little sad, sorry for ourselves, nobody cares, we're bored, these are the types of feelings that most people feel all the time. But when we feel alone, feeling disconnected, a deep sense of depression, a sense that, like, what's the point of all of this? These are the deeper and more serious feelings that I want to deal with today. And you kind of feel like no matter what you do, you're kind of alone on planet Earth. And so, and even if you're happy, even if you have people in your life, even if you are surrounded by family and friends, there's this kind of a deeper sense of going it alone. And so I talked about that last time, but there's different causes. Of course, everybody has to feel them every now and then. However, if it's consistent, if it's persistent, then you want to address it. You want to know the root cause so you can address it once and for all, or at least manage it better. Chemistry has a lot to do with depression. Of course, the hormones, but also if you have if you're like anemic or something like that, this type of chemistry imbalance has a lot to do with depression. And so if you suspect that, perhaps it's a good time to do a test and see if there's something significant that's contributing to, we're talking about chronic or something that's not going away. These are the symptoms that we want to address. If it's hormonal, it could be fixed naturally as well as any sort of anemia or anything like that, okay? So there's one thing. Structural, I don't think structural really is a huge component here, but definitely the emotional and the mental. Stuff builds up, piles up, and before we know it, we're an emotional mess. So there's definitely that. Sometimes energetically, we feel like not quite right, whether it's internal or coming from the outside. And definitely the collective. Hello. I mean, look at what's going on around us. We feel, we see, we witness the sadness, the confusion, and that is a huge component. When we ask questions like that, triggers us actually to ask the existential questions like, what am I doing here? What's really my purpose here? And so that is also brings up a sense of like, wait, I'm kind of going it alone. Another huge component is attachment. I talked about that last time, and I'm going to show you another slide here. And again, the idea is the more specific you are, the more accurate you are, the more you can shift faster and a lot better. So attachments, I mentioned last time, it could be the consciousness or the energy or the frequency of other people. So they're kind of latch on to ourselves. We don't even notice that they're there, but you come in contact with someone, that thought form kind of latches onto yours. Before you know it, it's part of you, and it starts to bring you down. If that person is depressed, if that person has a chronic suicidal whatever pattern, then that latches on to you. That's important. That's important to recognize. Sometimes the frequency of a deceased person, a deceased relative, a grandfather, or a living person, these energy, it doesn't mean there's something wrong. Maybe you could be very much connected to the father, but energetically you're kind of allowing their frequency to latch on to yours. And if they have any sort of anxiety or any sort of pattern of depression, well, guess what? It's now part of your energy. So that's why it's important to become aware. So it's not that we are inviting these interference as something, what's negative is that we're doing it because out of a need, an unconscious need. But it doesn't mean that you're not getting along with the father or anything like that. And of course, we have those little squares that you see there. I didn't know how to, I didn't want to put some sort of a weird figure. But these are representative of other entities, other types of beings that are floating around. They see you depressed, they come in and just mess with you. So all of these, whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, unfortunately, this is a typical scenario that most people have, because we're energy, we're exchanging energy, and we're not trained to discern exactly what just came into my body, what just came into my energy field. We're not trained to be that sensitive and that discerning. And before we know it, we have all these things piled up. And then all of a sudden, we have a pattern. Where did that come from? This is a huge, huge component, especially when the thoughts become really, really serious and suicidal. So if you have a friend or a kid or anybody the first thing, if they're talking that way, then there is an interference. Of course, we're gonna deal with that today. And of course, I'm gonna guide you how to release all of this, okay? I'm gonna stop right here. This is just kind of an overall picture. So the root cause could be many things at the same time, of course, and the interference, the attachment is a huge one. Let's see here. I'm trying to stop the sharing. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. All right. So again, this is if you have friends who are struggling with this is the time. This is a very, very important topic that is more common than you think. And so that is why I want to do this with a volunteer today, so that you can see how we can help ourselves or someone else that has these issues, okay? Before I move forward, Michael's with me. Hello, Michael. And he's here to help facilitate the questions. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Caroline. Great show so far. I just want to thank everyone for watching around the world. And we do have this live streaming also on Facebook.
Cool.
So thanks again for everyone that's watching, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. And I do have a question, but I didn't know if you were ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this one does come from Facebook, and I hope I pronounced this name correctly. Lutske, I hope I got that right. He says, my daughter doesn't want to go to school. She wants to stay close to me. She's 8 years old, highly sensitive, and she's constantly scared for losing me. Can you help him out?
Yes.
Help her out?
This is not specifically about those issues, but in your case, I feel there's a codependency. And also, it's a fear, again, it's the fear of being alone. So we will address that a little bit separately when we talk about specific fears. But for now, this is very common, by the way. I'm seeing more and more children who want to stay home, who can't, but it's not like, of course, they don't like school. No, there's a deeper, serious problem that the school is triggering a huge trauma. That's what I'm talking about. And so, so also now, I mean, they don't know that, but what's happening also with the COVID thing, some places they're already imposing vaccination, stuff like that. So there's a lot of things going on in terms of schooling, but we'll talk about that separately. Let's stay focused on questions of depression. Anything else, Michael, before we move on?
Yes, she adds, and I don't know if this is related, but I wanted you to know that she also experienced, she's around a lot of older people who are really depressed, and she calls their energy really heavy. So I don't know if that's one is affecting the other here.
Yeah, absolutely. The kids, not just the kids, but elderly. Actually, you know, it's really across the board. I see this everywhere. Even parents, some parents are depressed, but sometimes they kind of hold on because they have responsibility, they have kids, they have parents. So they're not addressing the problem as much as younger or older people who are expressing it, telling us, you know, they're sick of this. They don't want to keep going. You know, what kind of career am I going to have, and so on and so forth. So this is a very, very important and very common subject. So let's move on. Let's take a volunteer today so that we can process. This is a mini session, kind of condensed, but just to give you a sense how you can shift very quickly. Of course, for those who are new, can go on the website, carolinecorey.com, and then we do all kinds of very complex sessions and stuff like that. Avery, welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
Good to see you. You look amazing. Love your long hair.
Getting longer.
So today, you are younger. Yay.
Yes, I'm 25.
25, perfect. Like I said, this is so important. And do you relate to what I just said?
Oh, yes, 1,000%. Yeah, in general, just feeling like depressed about the world these days, especially.
Exactly. So tell me what is going on specifically for you.
Yeah, well, I'm an environmental engineer, so I often feel depressed about the state of the world quite often, but that's why I'm pursuing this field. And then combining it with the pandemic, you know, being in your mid-20s, you imagine being able to surround yourself with a bunch of other people in their mid-20s. Like I finished grad school and I'm, you know, going into industry and starting my first and second job. But now with the pandemic, can't connect with people. And it feels like the version of reality that I had been expecting has been changed for the foreseeable future, which I think is hard to digest, being so young and like not knowing when this will end. And then also with the Black Lives Matter movement, just I have never experienced obviously any of that type of oppression because I am white. So dealing with those feelings of guilt and really trying to understand all the oppression that Black people have faced in this country, it's been obviously very heavy and very disheartening. So it's all of those things all at once.
Okay, so you said something before this, your perception of the world was one thing and now it's changed. Can you describe to me how was your perception of the world before versus now? I mean, obviously you mentioned now a little bit, but just what was your vision about your future like before?
I think there was a lot of freedom, and I still have a lot more freedom than other people because of the privileges that I have, but and how I'm healthy. But I think, you know, now I can't just go hug my friend, or I can't just go to a restaurant with someone, and it's my life has these like confines that I'm not used to, which is I thought I would have none when I finished school and I was starting, you know, my life. And now it's like, okay, I'm starting my life, but in a very different sense.
Okay, so it's all these limitations. So let's begin to focus and see if there are any other components that are triggering all these feelings, okay? So everybody can do the same thing, whether you relate to that specific story or not. So let's just quiet down for a moment and let's take a deep breath in through the nose, deep breath. And exhale through the mouth. And again, deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, bring your focus to your heart, to this moment in time. And one more time, deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, focus on your heart and expand from the heart 360 degrees. Put yourself in a sacred space. And as if you had a camera pointing inward, inside your body. When you ask the question, is the root cause of my depression, sadness, chemical? Do I have a chemical imbalance that is triggering these feelings? Do you get a strong yes? Like, does your heart get kind of constricted, like there's a problem there? Or do you feel no, everything is great?
You had mentioned anemia, and I am anemic, so I identified with that.
Very good. Okay. Now ask the question as if you're speaking to your heart and your heart is responding. Constricted means I have a problem, and when it's relaxed, it means no, I'm fine. Is this an emotional overload? I think we all know the answer to that question, but I still want you to feel it. When I mention emotional mental overload, tell me what you're feeling in your body.
I feel a surge of emotion from my heart being like, yes.
Okay. Is this collective? Again, we know that's probably the case, but I want you to feel the emotion and tell me, how does the emotion register in your body?
Seems like it's both collective and individual.
Both. Very good. Now, is there also an energetic attachment in your body or your energy field that is contributing to this depression feeling, this sadness? So now you're looking for an attachment, kind of something that's not you, that's somebody else's frequency or somebody else's thought form that is kind of latched onto you.
I feel a little bit of it, and it feels like it's by my right shoulder. I don't know if that means anything.
It does, actually, because I can see it. So I want you to now zoom in there and tell me, who do you see? What do you see? What's there? Or who's there?
I think I had therapy yesterday, and I have a relationship with a friend that can be tricky and draining sometimes.
A boy?
No.
Okay. So it's a girl?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel like you're going a little bit to your head. Am I right? Okay. So I want you to take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, go back to your heart, your feeling. Because when you go to your head, you're like, logically, what could that be? And so you kind of project from a logical point of view, and then that's not really the case. It is the case when you experience, when your heart shows or does something that you're not even expecting, actually. So go back to the feeling, let go of any preconceived ideas, and just ask the question, is there someone else's energy or frequency that's latching on to me now? Just feel. Whatever you feel, tell me yes or no. Where do you feel it and who comes up?
Now that we asked it again, I feel it in my chest, but not at someone else. That it's more so that it's myself.
Okay, and so it's more actually along your spine. So you probably feel it here, but it's really your spine, the upper spine. So along your chest area. And who's there?
I just keep seeing my own face.
Okay. Keep focusing. You guys also just keep doing that exercise. Just relax. There's no right or wrong. It is no test. You know, it is what it is. It's okay to feel whatever comes up is what it is. I'm here to just help. Anybody else comes up? Anything else comes up? Because when you see your own face, it means then it's not an attachment because it's you, right? So we're looking for an attachment source, again, that could be external to your being. Focus on, like I said, the upper spine.
Yeah, no one's coming to mind for me.
Okay, well, I see actually your mother on one side, but then your dad is more prominent. Okay, you're smiling. Tell me.
Yeah, because I'm sheltering with them, and it's been over 3 months.
Okay, so but does that make sense to you?
Yeah, because those are the people that I've been around during this time.
But not logically. When I tell you, what do you feel when I tell you that, you know, your dad's energy is kind of latching on? Now, having said that, for those who are listening, it doesn't mean that the dad is wrong or is latching onto her. Don't forget, she creates her reality. So something within her is allowing an external frequency to come in. That's how it works. So it's no judgment on like who's doing that or that there's something wrong with the relationship. In fact, there isn't, like I said earlier. But why is this person invited and latching on to your energy field? When I say that, what do you feel?
I feel just worried that I will somehow give them the virus because I'm like could be an asymptomatic carrier because of my age.
Okay, there you go. Now we're talking. You see, and you become emotional when you are dealing with the truth. Okay? What else is coming up for you towards your parents? Okay, so you are concerned, you have anxiety. I can see that. What else is happening towards them?
There's also I'm feeling a lot of gratitude because this is time that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten if the pandemic didn't happen.
Anything else?
I think also just frustration. We've been all, feeling it, and just when you're in close quarters with people every day for a certain amount of time.
Don't logic. Don't go logic.
It's hard. I'm an engineer.
Of course, we're together. We get on each other's nerves. That you're thinking. I want you to feel. Just feel. Feel what comes up for you. It doesn't have to be logical. I feel that way towards my parents right now.
I feel tired.
Sorry?
Tired.
And what else as in relation to your career? Because that's the problem. You feel like you have no future. When I tell you, you just told me your perspective is that your future is changed. You can't do this. You can't do that. You don't know what's going to happen. Now, what do you feel towards your parents?
Fear of disappointment.
I've been looking at that one for 10 minutes. Fear of disappointing the parents. So this sense of depression, this sense of, I was ready to go at it. I was ready to go. You gave me all these resources, like you mentioned yourself. I'm one of the lucky ones. I have all the tools, all the resources, And this external situation is not letting me perform. So it's bringing you down, because not only it's like your vision of the future is shattered, but you're also disappointing you think you're disappointing your parents.
And I think the disappointment, it feels not as much with my career, but in terms of like moving away. I know that they're very proud of me, and I feel that.
Don't go to your head. Don't go to your head.
I know, but I feel that it's the disappointment I'm feeling is moving away.
Okay, very good. So that, you see how you have to kind of keep zooming into what the problem is. And again, Avery, this is great that you're letting this go, because that's how you're healing, is by expressing it. And so this is fantastic so far. So now that we narrowed it in, like we kind of zoomed in and we know more about the root cause, other than its chemistry, because you told us, other than it is the collective, but you suddenly have this deep sense of, I have this vision for myself, but also for my parents, and I can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. So this is where we need to work on, okay? Tell me about how you were feeling when we first started, like the sadness and depression being 10 being the worst. Where have you been the last few days and when we first started?
Oh my God, probably like a 7.
Very good. I mean, not very good, but all right. So we were at a 7 the last few days. How long? 1 month, 2 months?
Probably about, a month.
Okay. All right. And so let's see now that we know. And where do you feel it mostly? This sense of disappointment in self, in disappointment towards the parents, and this depression. Where do you feel it mostly in your body?
I feel it in my heart and my stomach.
Absolutely. And like I said, the part where it's the attachment is along the spine, right behind the heart, as I was saying earlier. So that makes perfect sense. The vertebra come through the peripheral nervous system and affect the heart and the stomach exactly that way. All right. So now that we know, with you, I'm going to do intention. We've tried a couple of different techniques last time. So I want to, everybody, again, you can focus on your issue as we use Avery's story as a kind of a storyline. Here we go. So sit up straight, breathe in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, focus on your heart and your lungs. And say quietly in your mind, I ask and intend to release my deep, deep sadness related to my inability to move forward in my life. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, imagine particles of energy leaving your body, leaving your chest, your lungs, your throat. Focus on your stomach and say, I ask and intend. To release the feeling and belief that my vision of the future, of my future, has been shattered. And I'm filled with uncertainty. I am letting go of the feeling and belief that my vision of the future has been shattered. From every cell in my stomach, my diaphragm, my lungs, my throat, my esophagus, every cell in my digestive system. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth. Again, imagine particles of energy leaving your body. Visualize these particles just coming out and dissolving. Focus on your entire spine. And say, I ask and intend to release my parents' frequency of concern from every cell in my spine. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth. Again, imagine particles of energy coming out of your entire spine. Just visualize these particles coming out, and dissolving. Focus on your lungs. Say, I ask and intend to release my feeling of uncertainty and confusion about my future and my friend's future. I am letting go of the feeling of uncertainty and confusion about my future and everyone's future. From every cell in my lungs, my throat, my brain, my endocrine system, my trachea, again my lungs, my heart, from every cell in my body, my conscious, my subconscious, and cellular memory. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth. Again, visualize particles of energy leaving your body. I want you now to imagine and visualize a very, very bright white light. This light is what we call source frequency. It's very pure. It's very calming, purifying, healing, protecting. Begin to imagine that you are absorbing this bright, bright white light through your chest, through your heart. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Your heart is filling up with this beautiful, bright white light. Every cell in your heart, your lungs, your chest, your arms, your shoulders, your throat, going up into your head, slowly, slowly, and down through your stomach, your lower back, your thighs, your knees, your feet. And now every cell in your body is filled with this beautiful, bright white light. Allow yourself to dissolve to bathe in this very comforting, calming light. This light is also dissolving all imbalances. It's purifying every cell in your body. Breathe in through the nose as you exhale through the mouth. Continue to feel this sense of being safe, a sense of protection, connection, and unconditional love. As you allow this energy to settle even deeper into your cells, focus on the heart and say quietly in your mind, I ask to feel good. I want to feel joyful, hopeful, adventurous. I want to feel safe, calm, protected, and loved. I want to emanate the same energy as I move forward in my life. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth. Continue to allow this energy to unfold and slowly bring your focus back to your heart. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes. Take your time. Smiling. Yes. Don't think, just feel. Tell me what you're feeling. Everybody can do the same. How does your body feel right now? How is your consciousness feeling right now?
Feels a lot lighter.
Lighter. And what else?
Kind of feel like I'm buoyant.
Okay. What else feeling wise? Do you feel expanded?
I was literally about to say, yeah, like I'm expanding outwards.
Yes. It's like there's no body limit. It's more expanded. What else are you feeling?
Well, I was feeling quite anxious today, and that for the way that manifests for me is I can't take a full breath, and my very first full breath I was able to take was the last one, so finally felt released, which was great.
Awesome. I can see all these changes in you. The expansion is amazing. Also a sense of calm. Do you feel calm?
Yeah, I felt like I was in a glass of milk is what I kept thinking about.
Good way, right? So where do you feel your level of anxiety is right now? Or sadness. We started with 7, and what do you feel that right now?
I'd say more of a 3. Like there's more peace or like acceptance of it.
Okay.
Not necessarily pushing it away, but just accepting it more in terms of the state of things.
Okay, but again, you have a tendency to go to your head. So for all of you who are listening, I can see the difference when she's speaking from her heart and when she's speaking from her head. Your energy changes. And so, but a lot of people don't notice that you do that. And the problem with that is that as soon as you go to your head, you start to kind of start analyzing why and how and where you are, and that brings you back into an old pattern. So it's very important, because right now when I focus on how you're feeling, not how you're thinking, but how you're feeling, I get a sense of calm. You called it acceptance. Acceptance to me feels a little bit on the negative side, like I'm just going to accept it. And I don't feel that in you. Okay. I feel more a sense of calm. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just trying to bring you back to the experience. And to me, that feels of a calm experience. Do you see the difference? I wonder.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Do you feel the difference? And when you focus on your head, I feel like you're saying, from now on, I'm going to accept it. And usually, but when I focus on your heart, I feel like I am in a state of calm. That's the difference between the two.
Yep. You are. It's like you're reading my brain, which I think you are. So
I kind of am. I try not to do that. Sorry, guys. Do you see the difference?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like I feel the calmness and feel grounded.
Exactly. Thank you. So now train yourself and everybody else to notice the difference. It's okay. Everybody does that. So it's nothing. I'm so glad this is coming up, because you're helping so many people. It's such a typical pattern that we start to feel good, but then we register here and start talking, and that gets us out of the feeling good. Okay. So for you, thank you so much, you guys. I mean, we're so blessed and grateful to have had Avery, because you represent like 99.9% of the population right now. So I'm so grateful, and especially everything that's coming up, like the head and the heart, the feeling. So for everybody who's listening, and for you, Avery, notice the difference between the two. And the way you do that, you ask how you feel without caring, and you feel good. And then go to your head, block the heart part, go to your head, and then start to process it, process how you think you're feeling. And then you will see the difference. And then when you see that difference, make a choice to let go of that part, because it's not helping. It doesn't matter what you're going to do tomorrow. What matters is how you're feeling now, because you're going to build on how you're feeling now. You're going to say, I feel amazing. I feel amazing. I feel amazing. Now what can I do? So just catch yourself doing that. This was an extraordinary session as far as I'm concerned with what Avery brought to us. Do you have any quick question, Avery, before we let you go?
No, this was awesome. Thank you, Caroline.
You are awesome. I'm so grateful for Avery and everybody else who joined. I hope you got a chance to do this for yourself or for others. Like I said, this is so much more common than you think. This is the common denominator of pretty much planet Earth, especially with what's going on right now. So I encourage you to redo this session, apply it to a specific example that you're going through. And of course, for those who are new, please go to carolinecorey.com. You'll see all kinds of different sessions. We go deeper into different topics. We're going to post some links afterwards for you to know where to go that address different kind of topics, and of course, different tools. But this is a very quick one to address specific things. And so for those who are with me, thanks for joining. Michael, is there any other quick question from Facebook or anywhere else?
We did have one more question, and I asked them to DM you just in case we didn't get back to it. However, Jeanette in the chat had a pretty important question, and she wanted to know, how can she help somebody who's close to her who's feeling suicidal?
Yes. So again, that's why I showed you these images. Every time you have somebody who's suicidal, it's 100% of the time. I've been doing this for 20 years. 100% of the time, it's an attachment, another entity that's latching on, that's messing with you. So even though you don't know, you don't have to know, you can't see this little energy, just assume that it's there and be very, very specific. You put them in this bubble, you do the connecting to source, and then you specifically say, you bring, it's better to have Archangel Michael at that time, and then you specifically say that you want to remove that those entities that are latching on to his or her physical body or energy field. There's a session under online classes under the Healers program that deals specifically with attachments. I recommend that you do that as well. And again, like I said, suicidal, it's a big problem karmically because you don't really go anywhere and you have to start over. Plus you have the fact that you just, took out your own life, you didn't finish. Anyway, long story. So I recommend for people to look into that and address it in this way. Assume it's there and just intend for it to be cleared out. Okay? Anything else? Anybody else?
That covers it. And I'm just checking Facebook now. And I did pronounce her name correct, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
Okay, cool. So again, this was a quick session, although it was a little bit longer than usual, but so helpful. This is just so timely. Thanks again, Avery. Thanks, everybody. And again, if you're joining for the first time, don't forget to subscribe. It costs you nothing. It helps me out. It helps me keep going, doing these things. And especially after the fact, when you see this video on YouTube, you can post your comments underneath and I can respond to them and other people can be helped by your comments. So I encourage you to do that as well. Okay? Well, thank you so much for joining and I hope to see you next time. Thanks, everyone.